welcome to another edition of Pittsfield Community Television's On the Road. I'm your host today, David Cachat. I am the supervisor of educational, government, and technical operations at Pittsfield Community Television. But today I'm just your humble narrator for a lovely show we're going to have today with our special guest, Alex Geller, who is an outreach librarian here at the Berkshire Athenaeum. And I want to explain to everyone we are at the Berkshire Athenaeum today in their lovely auditorium space. It's the space used for pretty much hundreds of events throughout the year. Anything from your community meetings to Friends of the Athenaeum book sales to workshops and training sessions. And like I said, I've personally been here hundreds of times covering meetings of various shapes and sizes. I've been here for book readings and everything else. Great space. I know recently, the last couple of years, you've upgraded the sound system and the video systems here in the room. So it's a really awesome place to come as a community and see an event and have something going on here. I've been here for PHS Chamber Orchestra concerts up here on the stage. It's quite the thing. And it's just one small part of the Berkshire Athenaeum and what they have to offer for not only the city of Pittsfield, but Berkshire County in general, for everyone, especially in the city of Pittsfield. It's home to hundreds, if not thousands, of activities throughout the year. And Alex, as you're an outreach librarian,
sure.
As I asked you before, what does that mean?
Yeah, so I've had this question a lot. And I also get asked the question, like, what is a library? Well, yeah. And I usually break it down to, like, this is what I do. Yeah. And it's sort of describing, like, if you ask what is a car, and you say it has a wheel, it has a gas pedal, it has cup holders, that doesn't really describe what it does.
No.
So I could go over what it is that I do, but what am I? Like, what is my role in the community? Basically, first of all, I'm very new to this community. In 2 weeks, I will have been here one whole year.
Hey now.
So
nice. Happy birthday.
Does that do I get Pittsfield native credit at
not
that
yet.
point?
It's
Okay.
I think you got to do 30 or 40
30 or
before
40.
they start
Okay.
counting out the new person.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Then my pension. then I can qualify for my pension. So it'll be great. But really what this means is that I go out into the community and I meet with people. So I meet with PCTV, for instance, or I meet with members of my community at neighborhood meetings, at events that we host, at events that other organizations host around town, not just service organizations, but cultural, government, public health, all different facets of what make a city and all of its assets. And I find out what the community needs. So what services do we have that I think will be beneficial for our community? And what services are we lacking that our community is desiring? What are their aspirations? So it's very easy to talk about barriers when it comes to the library. Like, we deal with the most vulnerable of populations, and here are these barriers. You have transportation issues, you have food access issues, you have access to health care, you have unemployment issues, and a lot of different ways that these all sort of mold together to create all these different barriers. What the library is here for is to acknowledge those barriers exist and not only work with workarounds and trying to figure out how we can be part of that conversation, but find what people actually desire out of life. What are their aspirations? What do they want to succeed? What do they want to make them happy? And then try to meet them there. So not dictating what our community wants, finding what they want and trying to go meet them halfway at least.
Which is, I think, is a much better pathway to success.
I think so too.
Than just saying, hey, here's what we got to offer and you better like it or hope you like it.
And I mean, it's difficult. So, the library, this is the greatest library I've ever worked in. I've worked in many different libraries. I've worked in Austin. I worked for the Austin Public Library. I worked in Nashville at Vanderbilt, and I worked at Indiana University. And I've never met a group of people who've appreciated the library more, who depend on the library, and know who we are as people. So you see us behind our desks, and people sort of assume there's this transactional relationship, like we're working at a shoe store. So they're like, I want size 10 shoes, and then you're like, here's your box of size 10 shoes. That's not really what we are, and the people who come to the library, as you mentioned, acknowledge this. We are moving from a transactional relationship to a relational relationship. So it's less on, like, do you have this book in stock? Because yes, probably. But what does this book do for you? Like, what do you want beyond this book? What will make you happy? We think that the people who come to the library are the experts. So people say librarians have all the answers. I have no answers for you. If you have a question, I probably don't know.
That's the first thing you need to succeed, I think, is knowing that you don't have the answers. You know, that's
but what the librarian's skill set is helping you ask the questions that you want to ask.
All right.
So like in this interview, for instance, we're sort of going around and bantering. We're having a great conversation, but what your answers that you might want, what answers that I might want, really I would know this and you would know this, what actually makes you happy and successful. So,
well, that's a good way of looking at it. I like that. And I think it points to, like you say, sort of a greater sense of not only just a library, but a community space that the Berkshire Athenaeum is.
Sure.
Yes, you have the library books that you'd expect. You have the reference materials you'd expect. You have the expertise in the people that work upstairs and downstairs in the children's library who can do all that stuff for you perfectly well and do everything that you've expected of this library and any other library for the last 100 years.
Sure.
I think it's that next step that you're talking about, and that'll only benefit the community as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important part going forward, is I've always gone under the assumption of adapt or die. Of, yes, you could be offering the reference book, just like, you know, as most stores, hey, I could still sell you the same thing I sold you 20 years ago, and I could also go out of business just as easy as the other stores did.
Sure.
I have to learn how to adapt, and I think people are learning, and I think, as you said, from a transactional thing to more of an experience level thing of what to expect out of my community things, what to expect out of my money from the city per se, or my donations to the Friends of the Athenaeum. What am I getting out of that?
Yeah, and
I'm going to be getting a whole lot more than just books.
And I would say, like, without our Friends organization, none of this would be possible.
Yeah. I think that's a great example, like you said, of a community group that gets it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, those are the people that get it. And like you said, most people that come into the Berkshire Athenaeum get it. They're not here anymore just to get the latest
And I think
book.
a lot of people get it. I mean, the one resource we have that I would say we have a monopoly on, I mean, not entirely. I mean, I am biased because I am a librarian and I work here, but is trust.
Yeah, I can see that.
While we don't, you know, we can't like offer all of the newest technology, people feel comfortable asking for that.
Yes.
And feel comfortable coming up to us, like not even behind the desk, like as we're walking around the floor, making conversation, getting to know your neighbor.
And I think you guys have been also key in the sense that when people come up to you and ask you for something, if you don't have it, it seems like it's put on a list, and sooner or later you get it.
Sure.
And usually it's sooner than later.
Yeah.
You know, again, we're sitting here in front of 3D printers printing away, which again, you're not going to find anywhere else in this community that are open to people just come off the street and print something in a 3D printing.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is access is step one.
Right.
But what's the next step? Sure. And that's basically where the outreach part comes in. So about a bunch of different stuff that we brought into the library recently, we now have the Berkshire Seat Library, which is a partnership between Hancock Shaker Village, Alchemy Initiative, and a bunch of other organizations for different programs that we're sponsoring around town to provide not only packets of seed for first-time gardeners, but programs. We're about to build a community garden on May 19th. So when this tape recycles, I was about to say next Saturday, which would mean nothing.
No, it happened on May 19th.
It'll happen on May 19th.
Now, do they have classes? Do they have?
Yeah, so we're offering classes and programs. So I like to call this the luxury of failure.
Sure. That's a good way of saying something. I like that.
I mean, I don't want to presume where anybody is in life. I grew up healthily middle class. So if I were to burn out of my current position, I have something to rely back onto. Okay. So I have the luxury to fail.
Sure.
A lot of people do not have that luxury. And while I don't want to make light of the point, like with the garden, as we give you the seeds, and if you try to garden and you fail, there's nothing lost. But that's basically the ethos of the library. We want to give you the support you need so you can try to be your best self. You know what it is that you want to do to succeed, that makes you happy, what gives your life meaning. And we want to put you in connection with those resources to help you on that road without judgment.
Right. That's an excellent way of thinking of that. And I think the step B of that is it also sounds fun.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Absolutely.
You know, because again, I've never been any kind of green thumb or grown anything in my life, but if someone says, hey, it's just as simple as taking this thing here's a book or something on how to learn how to do it,
Yeah,
or come to a workshop on a Saturday and do it.
It's definitely not that simple. As
No.
someone who has tried to garden in the past.
No.
But we want to make it so that take the guesswork out of it,
Yeah,
basically.
excellent.
Some other things that we started. We have this great relationship with the state clinic. They've been rebranded Healthy Steps. So we offer Narcan and overdose management training once a month. We are one of 5 libraries in the country that offers STD testing on site once a month.
Really? Is that a mobile clinic that comes in and does that?
They use one of our rooms.
Okay.
And it's all confidential. It's all free. And state clinic staff do all of the follow-up. And if for whatever reason
that's incredible.
a test is positive, they will provide that medication free of charge.
Excellent.
So
wow, that's incredible to hear about that. I mean, because again, not something I would ever think of. And again, I think it speaks to you, like you were just talking about before, being that sort of middle class. I wouldn't think of that. Again, growing up, you go to the doctors, you do that sort of thing. Again, some people don't have access to proper health care. And to be able to have it right here at the library, which is located right downtown.
And even if you are to have access, doing that next step to go in a place that you trust and you feel comfortable without judgment, and then forcing yourself to go to another location where you don't know anybody, and there's a lot of stigma attached to getting these tests, and trying to destigmatize basic health care is like really key. We now have a book bike, which we will be.
I saw the great picture of Alex Reskowski on the Eagle with that, and that looks pretty fun.
It is a lot of fun. So we're bringing that out for Third Thursday.
Nice.
The farmers market and a bunch of different locations around town. That was another thing that we heard over and over again. While we are centrally located, I mean, our location cannot be more perfect for this community. There's a lot of people who can't get to us because of transportation issues. So, I mean, if you can decipher the BRTA line about where to enter and how to hail that bus and find the time. I mean, if you don't have a car, if you live over a mile away and there's 6 feet of snow, as someone from the south, everything just looks like 6 feet of snow, even when it's just flurrying. That is a barrier. And if we believe, and our community believes, that the resources we provide are beneficial for everybody and everyone deserves that access, not being able to come here should not prevent you from taking advantage. Our services don't stop at our door, and they shouldn't. The library is an anchor institution. How a city views its library is how it sees its community, how it treats its community, and that is reflected on how the library goes out and meets with its people.
No, I think that shows. I always make a joke because one of my jobs at PCTV for the last 19 years has been running the government channel, and I shoot all the city meetings. And I always joke about when they have the budget seasons, which is coming up here in the month of May, the only budget every year that never has any issues, and the only issue I ever hear is, I wish we could give you more money, is the Berkshire Athenaeum. Because there is that level of trust. They know the money isn't frittered away on something. It's being used effectively, and being used for hundreds of programs that, again, I don't think most people know exist. You know, it is that, there is that level of knowledge from, it's just a place with books, to, like you said, again, I'm learning stuff today that I didn't know was here. The thing I've learned that's interesting is, for the last month or so, on another completely topic, the elevator at City Hall is broken, so they can't have meetings there. And so you go to the library, and you realize how busy this place is with events. And you realize you can't just show up and have the auditorium or the Athenaeum room or the author's room, because those are used every day, year round, for hundreds of different community events, community meetings, you know, like you say, book clubs, concerts, events, everything. I
mean, if only we had like all of the staff and all of the time. I mean, it's really amazing all of the stuff that we are able to do.
We did a day here last year, around the same time last April. We were here for On the Road last year, one of our first dates, and we sort of did a little bit of taping everywhere, and it blew our mind. We were only here for 8 hours. And we were here, we saw dedication to a new painting, National Library Week. We saw hundreds of people coming in. We saw people in the cafe eating. We saw there was a international dance class after the daycare center. There was, and it's just, this is just a normal Wednesday or something here at the library, at the Berkshire Athenaeum, which is absolutely incredible. Some of the other events I happen to see on this sheet of paper, we were talking beforehand about a book club you guys have.
Yeah, so this is a partnership once again with Hotel on North. So we meet on the third Monday of every month. We pick a book, we order a bunch of copies so that they're all available, and it's called Libations with Librarians.
Nice.
It's for people 21 and up. I mean, you can come if you're not 21, but half of the point of the book
point
club
one of the words is
sort of-
libations. Yes,
The implication.
The implication
is
is
that you should
there.
be 21.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful, and there's a great group of 10 or 15 people that meet every month, talk about the book, talk about how this book relates to life in Pittsfield. We always try to make it as community focused as possible. So no matter what we're reading, you can tie in different things, not just anecdotally, but actually try to deal with deep issues that the community faces on how these authors are presenting these issues in a new light, which is wonderful. I mean, I had to write down this list because these are just the events that I'm working on, and then at the end I get to take a nap. But
well, like I said, we've talked about the seed library. The one thing I always love is the fitness challenge, which kicks off, and that runs for basically the whole summer, right?
Yeah.
And that kicks off, and that's sort of the little challenge between Pittsfield and North Adams, the two mayors, and then but it's community wide.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
And what's fun is
you guys have a team here at the library?
We do.
Okay.
We're assembling one as we speak. But the book bike, we actually got a note from North Adams asking.
So you can't use it?
No, asking if we could bring the book bike up there for their kickoff celebration.
Okay.
And we're just like, we got to have some Pittsfield pride right here.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm most proud of, initiative that we have started, is this thing called a Community Expo. And this really goes to what it is a library does. We are bringing in service organizations to meet with our patrons for direct outreach. So questions we get all the time at the reference desk, at circulation in children's, that we don't feel comfortable answering.
Okay.
So questions about how to sign up. Like, we can give certain information, but we can't really take that next step.
Right, or you can give a web address or a phone number.
Let's say someone wants to sign up for SNAP.
Okay, yep.
And we say, go to this organization right down the street with these people you don't know in times that
here's a website.
Here's a website, and you can work through this, and we're happy to help work through this with you. But unfortunately, we don't have the time or staff to do one-on-one for something that's so important and valuable. So bringing in these organizations that do this, bringing in these experts to meet directly with the people who can most benefit from their services. And that's step one. Right. This is what we said. Access is step one. We want to bring these people face to face with our patrons. Anybody can take advantage. So that we have the ability to find out what our patrons want. So if they meet with an organization that does, let's say we brought in Berkshire Works and a bunch of other job-based organizations. We had Goodwill, we had the Adult Learning Center, we had BCC, we had Community Legal Aid. People would meet individually with each booth. It was basically it was an expo. And then they would have follow-up questions. And now they know to whom they can ask these questions, but then they can come up to us and say, I really appreciated the fact that you offer this opportunity to do resume building. Can we have a class like this? We have already developed this relationship with this organization. Let's bring them in.
Back again and do
and build this connection between the people who want their services and the organizations that already deliver it. We're not here to reinvent the wheel.
I was going to say, you're just trying to make the connections.
Sure, like why we have you here. I mean, this is the ability, I mean, this is incredible, this resource that we have in this community, that if you become a member of PCTV, you can literally go behind on a green screen, which I wish these cameras would turn around as I am pointing over there, but then run your own show. Like, explore what it is that like you care about and you're passionate about, that you want to share.
And that's always the tricky part, because like you said, the day-to-day operations can wear you down.
Sure.
I got to go to work. I got to make TV shows. I got to do this. I got to go to the library. I got to do this stuff. Well, then it's like, well, how do we get new blood? How do you make those connections, or how do you get people to realize that you're here for them?
Yeah.
Takes things like this. And again, that's why as PCTV, when we thought about having a community where we want to introduce our TV studio, our first thought was, well, let's not bring them to our studio. That's easy. You know, we can do that anytime. If we bring them to a place they know and they trust, Berkshire Athenaeum, we set up our stuff. They know it's not a sales pitch. We're not going to PCTV. We're going to the Athenaeum. we trust the Athenaeum enough to know that they're not going to bring in, this isn't a cold sales call from a timeshare.
Yeah.
It's PCTV, and we can show people all of our stuff that we have to offer. And we also are able to do shows like this where we get to introduce you, introduce your programs, all that sort of thing. More connections are made.
Yeah, but I really appreciate the fact. I mean, I've only been here a year, but the welcoming reception I felt from PCTV and all these other organizations that take hours that they don't have in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how difficult it is to schedule a 30-minute sit down with you. Like literally leaving their business to come here to meet with our patrons because they know the value of it.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, they're only going to grow. Yeah. They're only going to succeed more and have those numbers that are needed to show off to people to say, hey, we had this many patrons. And again, it's all, like you say, it's all about connections.
Yeah.
And that's and I think Berkshire County has always prided ourselves on that, because I think you've been here a year. Anyone who's been here longer sort of knows that we've always felt we're not connected to Boston.
Yeah.
Or we're not connected to a lot of people because of weather, transportation, distance between towns and cities here in the Berkshires. And so we do have those we trust the organizations that do those big things because we have to.
Yeah.
A, and B, because we know those people are willing of their time and money and effort and everything else to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
And it certainly speaks to a larger community effort, I think, in this Berkshire County. And something that I think we've sort of always prided ourselves on, but I think it helps to have an outsider come in and go, hey, this is actually it's actually working.
Yeah, No, I mean, what I appreciate, so much about the organizations that I've met and our organization is that we're here to share authority. We're not here to dictate.
Right.
It's very easy, I think, even especially as an outsider, to go into a new community and say, why doesn't it do the way that I'm used to? I mean, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. We have like 1 million people with 1 million different needs, but what our resources are, what our wants are completely different.
Yeah.
And it would be ridiculous to make that assumption that I know what this community wants before I talk to them.
Well, on a completely different subject, you've been here almost a year. What's the funnest thing you've done so far this year in with this library? Is there, that you had the most fun with so far?
I mean, it's incredible the opportunities that this position has allowed me to pursue. I think the most fun event that we had here at the library was our pumpkin carving, which was our official kickoff of the Berkshire Seed Library. So we had this great partnership with Taft Farms to supply 200 plus pumpkins. We had
a lot of pumpkin guts.
Oh man! But we were practicing seed saving, so the cleanup was not that hard.
Yeah, it's true.
But we had over 200 people. It was one of the largest library-run family events we've ever had.
That's awesome.
We provided everything, and just get people to come out. I mean, it was a beautiful October day. It's now beautiful outside. I was about to sound wistful, but I could go outside right now. But just to see like families, like parents and kids helping each other create something, and then kids helping kids, and then all these different interactions. The other great thing that you guys were a part of was our speed repping event that we hosted a few weeks ago, which is another testament to the transparency of our city government, that they would take the time to come to the library to meet with patrons without a set script. I mean, they could hear literally anything. And it was very respectful on both sides. And it was also a great opportunity for community members who had issues that were similar to other people's issues to meet and build those connections. So it's not only what the government can do, like here are my issues, what can you do for me? It's they can meet other people with similar wants and issues and dreams and ideas and come together to actually make their community more livable. So.
Well, we got a little less than 2 minutes to go. Anything that we haven't talked about that you definitely want to bring up, make sure people know about happening here at the Berkshire Athenaeum?
We are about to kick off a new initiative with the Berkshire Natural Resources Council. There's so many acronyms. And keeping those straight. I was going to say BNRC, which is a hiking program. So thanks to a wonderful grant that they helped us get, we will be providing 5 hiking backpacks filled with binoculars and magnifying glasses And if you want to see the PSA
say,
that
I
we
was
did
gonna
with
say.
PCTV, you always got to cross-promote.
Yeah.
So that's starting June 16th. We are going to do a hike at the boulders to show off those resources.
Right around the end of the school year, which is nice.
And then on June 30th, we will have a workshop here on local flora and fauna of Berkshire County. And then we will take, as a group from that workshop, up to our community garden to see the different bugs and birds and bees and other bee words. Bears, hopefully
not bears.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not.
I have seen more bears than I...
Yes, I've seen a couple in my backyard this year in Dalton.
Terrifying.
Yeah, that's the word for it.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, about that time to wrap up. Alex Geller, I want to thank you for being the guest here today on the road.
And thank you so much for coming here. I mean, it's so
gonna be fun.
It's so wonderful to be able to show off all the great stuff that Pittsfield has available. Because, I mean, especially as someone from Nashville, people ask me all the time, I know we only have 20 seconds, but like, I am young, I'm relatively hip, I clean shaven and whatnot. They're like, why would you move here? I want people to spend the time to look around and talk with their neighbors, and they would know. This is a community that wants to help its neighbor without judgment, without stigma, because they know it's the right thing to do.
Couldn't end on a better note than that. Again, I want to thank you for watching Pittsfield Community Television on the Road. For all things PCTV, visit pittsfieldtv.org. So again, I want to thank you for watching. I've been David Cachat. He's been Alex Geller. And once again, this has been PCTV's On the Road. And we'll catch you next time somewhere else in this beautiful city of ours in the city of Pittsfield. Thank you for watching. Good night.